Trubus Bina Swadaya.
Nggak ada vitamin C seenak ini. Pilih Sido Muncul vitamin C 1000. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh.
Trubus Bina Swadaya.
Nggak ada vitamin C seenak ini. Pilih Sido Muncul vitamin C 1000. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh.
Asuransi Cakrawala Proteksi dengan Resya bisa dibantu?
Langsung dihap bisa, sup sampai kimbab juga bisa. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Pertama coba nggak kuat, makin lama makin nikmat. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Dari masak-masak sampai makan-makan, Mama selalu tahu yang enak.
Trubus Bina Swadaya. Trubus Bina Swadaya.
Nggak ada vitamin C seenak ini. Pilih Sido Muncul vitamin C 1000. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh.
Asuransi cakrawala proteksi dengan Resya bisa dibantu.
Langsung di hub bisa, sup sampai kimbab juga bisa. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Pertama coba nggak kuat, makin lama makin nikmat. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Dari masak-masak sampai makan-makan, Mama selalu tahu yang enak.
Trubus Bina Swadaya.
Nggak ada vitamin C seenak ini. Pilih Sido Muncul vitamin C 1000. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh.
Asuransi cakrawala proteksi dengan Resya bisa dibantu.
Langsung di hub bisa, sup sampai kimbab juga bisa. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Pertama coba nggak kuat, makin lama makin nikmat. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Dari masak-masak sampai makan-makan, Mama selalu tahu yang enak.
Trubus Bina Swadaya. Trubus Bina Swadaya.
Nggak ada vitamin C seenak ini. Pilih Sido Muncul vitamin C 1000. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh.
Asuransi Cakrawala Proteksi dengan Resya bisa dibantu?
Langsung di hub bisa, sup sampai kimbab juga bisa. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Pertama coba nggak kuat, makin lama makin nikmat. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Dari masak-masak sampai makan-makan, Mama selalu tahu yang enak.
Trubus Bina Swadaya.
Nggak ada vitamin C seenak ini. Pilih Sido Muncul vitamin C 1000. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh.
Asuransi Cakrawala Proteksi dengan Resya bisa dibantu?
Langsung di hub bisa, sup sampai kimbab juga bisa. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Pertama coba nggak kuat, makin lama makin nikmat. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Dari masak-masak sampai makan-makan, Mama selalu tahu yang enak.
Trubus Bina Swadaya.
Nggak ada vitamin C seenak ini. Pilih Sido Muncul vitamin C 1000. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh. Mata kering, Menjadi fresh.
So fresh.
Roh to dry fresh.
Asuransi cakrawala proteksi dengan Resya bisa dibantu.
Langsung dihap bisa, sup sampai kimbab juga bisa. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Pertama coba nggak kuat, makin lama makin nikmat. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Dari masak-masak sampai makan-makan, Mama selalu tahu yang enak.
Trubus Bina Swadaya.
Nggak ada vitamin C seenak ini. Pilih Sido Muncul vitamin C 1000. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Roh to dry fresh. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Roh to dry fresh.
Asuransi cakrawala proteksi dengan Resya bisa dibantu.
Langsung dihap bisa, sup sampai kimbab juga bisa. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Pertama coba nggak kuat, makin lama makin nikmat. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Dari masak-masak sampai makan-makan, Mama selalu tahu yang enak.
Trubus Bina Swadaya.
Nggak ada vitamin C seenak ini. Pilih Sido Muncul vitamin C 1000. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Roh to dry fresh. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Roh to dry fresh.
Asuransi cakrawala proteksi dengan Resya bisa dibantu.
Langsung dihap bisa, sup sampai kimbab juga bisa. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Pertama coba nggak kuat, makin lama makin nikmat. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Dari masak-masak sampai makan-makan, Mama selalu tahu yang enak.
Trubus Bina Swadaya.
Nggak ada vitamin C seenak ini. Pilih Sido Muncul vitamin C 1000. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh.
Asuransi Cakrawala Proteksi dengan Resya bisa dibantu.
Langsung dihap bisa, sup sampai kimbab juga bisa. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Pertama coba nggak kuat, makin lama makin nikmat. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Dari masak-masak sampai makan-makan, Mama selalu tahu yang enak.
Trubus Bina Swadaya.
Nggak ada vitamin C seenak ini. Pilih Sido Muncul vitamin C 1000. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh.
Asuransi Cakrawala Proteksi dengan Resya bisa dibantu.
Langsung dihap bisa, sup sampai kimbab juga bisa. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Pertama coba nggak kuat, makin lama makin nikmat. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Dari masak-masak sampai makan-makan, Mama selalu tahu yang enak.
Trubus Bina Swadaya.
Nggak ada vitamin C seenak ini. Pilih Sido Muncul vitamin C 1000. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh.
Asuransi Cakrawala Proteksi dengan Resya bisa dibantu.
Langsung di hub bisa, sup sampai kimbab juga bisa. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Pertama coba nggak kuat, makin lama makin nikmat. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Dari masak-masak sampai makan-makan, Mama selalu tahu yang enak.
Trubus Bina Swadaya.
Nggak ada vitamin C seenak ini. Pilih Sido Muncul vitamin C 1000. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh.
Asuransi Cakrawala Proteksi dengan Resya bisa dibantu.
Langsung di hub bisa, sup sampai kimbab juga bisa. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Pertama coba nggak kuat, makin lama makin nikmat. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Dari masak-masak sampai makan-makan, Mama selalu tahu yang enak.
Trubus Bina Swadaya.
Nggak ada vitamin C seenak ini. Pilih Sido Muncul vitamin C 1000. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh.
Asuransi Cakrawala Proteksi dengan Resya bisa dibantu.
Langsung di hub bisa, sup sampai kimbab juga bisa. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Pertama coba nggak kuat, makin lama makin nikmat. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Dari masak-masak sampai makan-makan, Mama selalu tahu yang enak.
Trubus Bina Swadaya.
Nggak ada vitamin C seenak ini. Pilih Sido Muncul vitamin C 1000. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh.
Asuransi cakrawala proteksi dengan Resya bisa dibantu.
Langsung di hub bisa, sup sampai kimbab juga bisa. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Pertama coba nggak kuat, makin lama makin nikmat. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Dari masak-masak sampai makan-makan, Mama selalu tahu yang enak.
Trubus Bina Swadaya.
Nggak ada vitamin C seenak ini. Pilih Sido Muncul vitamin C 1000. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh.
Asuransi cakrawala proteksi dengan Resya bisa dibantu.
Langsung di hub bisa, sup sampai kimbab juga bisa. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Pertama coba nggak kuat, makin lama makin nikmat. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Dari masak-masak sampai makan-makan, Mama selalu tahu yang enak.
Trubus Bina Swadaya.
Nggak Nggak ada vitamin C seenak ini. Pilih Sido Muncul vitamin C 1000. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh.
The speaking order, please.
Yeah, it's incoming. Wait for a while, okay?
Oh ya, oke. Aku kira kalau misalnya nggak LO-nya dari tim juga nggak apa-apa, one representative. If that's easier for everyone. Or kalau misalnya udah diketik juga nggak apa-apa sih. Yaudah. The speaking order, please.
Yeah, it's incoming. Wait for a while, okay?
Oh ya.
Kak, sorry, ini silent or enggak ya?
Nggak ada verbal adjudication, but we are going to announce the winner after the round.
Oh, oke. Thank you, Kak.
Maksudnya kayak tadi gitu loh, chairnya yang bakal announce siapa yang proceed to grand finals.
Yes.
So on and so forth gitu. Oke.
Have you gotten the chat box yet? The chat yet?
Belum.
Oh. I think I should send it to all of the educators, okay?
Di everyone juga nggak apa-apa sih sebenarnya.
Ya,
Ya.
nggak apa-apa aja.
Oke. Thank you. Then, without further ado, let's call upon the first speaker of the government team. Here.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Javier Reinhardt, and I will be your liaison officer in this debate. The motion of the debate today is, with the knowledge of hindsight, as John Wick, this house would not take revenge. Today, we have Team UPH College as Team Government and Team Regina Pacis Bogor as Team Opposition. In Team Government, we have Teresia as the Prime Minister, Rachel as the Deputy Prime Minister, Ken as the Government Whip, and Rachel as the Government Reply. Would not take revenge. In Team Opposition, we have Abendanon as the Leader Opposition, Brian as the Deputy Leader of Opposition, Giovanni as Opposition Whip, and Brian as the Opposition Reply. To open the case, I invite Teresia as the Prime Minister.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. From our side of the House, we want to propose a motion that, with the knowledge of hindsight, John Wick, this House would not does not take revenge as a option. Now, before getting onto my arguments, I would like to define a couple things. Now, we define virtue as the principles or actions that are of a high grounds of morals that is based off of the principles of righteousness. And the parameter that we have set for this motion is the act of revenge in terms of the assassination of others. Now, we believe that the urgency of why John Wick should not take revenge is that because closure is not equivalent to revenge. Taking revenge is in the way because it is not gonna. First of all, it's not gonna bring back what he lost, and it's just gonna make him go back to the old version of himself, and it will be a cycle of problems that will be yet to come. Our solution for this debate is long-time closure. Long-time closure in terms of therapy that will finally achieve acceptance in the death, and it will also help John Wick make amends with his troubles and with his worries. Now, this therapy can be done through seeking help from professional psychologists. Which brings me on to my first argument. Our side of the House believes that revenge will not simmer down anger or grief. Instead, it will just worsen anger and grief because the act of aggression and violence itself does not reduce anger, because putting his mind in the spotlight of revenge only will intensify his anger, and it will only make his grieving and anger process just keep simmering up. Because when someone plans for revenge or plots for revenge, it will always intensify his emotions. It will always keep thinking, when John Wick keeps on thinking about his revenge plans, it will always just trigger his own emotions, because as humans, whenever we have a plot, whenever we have an incentive to
anger, and it will only make
seek
his
revenge,
make
of
his
course, what's
grieving
in
and
our
anger
head is always filled with negativity. It's always filled with anger and rage, and this will make him this will control his, he will,
Point.
no, sorry. This will make his emotions get controlled. And this revenge that we have said before is the act of assassination, right? Which brings me, which means that he will be continuously causing harm to others. Now, which brings me on to my second argument, that seeking closure is equivalent to long-term closure, because short-term closure, like assassination, will only cause problems, as I have mentioned, and that will also be elaborated later on. Now, this revenge will actually cause him more harm than good. It will put him in a state of jeopardy, where he won't ever find closure, because this state of jeopardy will actually just will never put him at ease. It will just make him in this place filled with so many gray areas, where he always has to constantly think about others backfiring him for his actions. And I want to talk about the process of how to seek closure. First of all, what we recommend is for John Wick to talk to a professional that can potentially motivate him to change. Because keep in mind that he lost his dog, that is
Point.
one of his wife's only thing that he has left with in here on earth. And this is not what his wife wants. His wife has spent a lot of time changing his perception, and it takes a lot of effort for his wife to change his perception, meaning that when the death of his wife, with his wife's death, his wife, even if his wife were still alive, this is probably not what his wife wants. And committing more crimes, committing more assassinations, and plotting revenge is probably won't be something that his wife is a fond of, right? And the thing is that we view John Wick here as someone very strong, someone who is capable of many things. Now, why would we let him be the hostage of his own emotions? He is a strong person. He should never let himself become the hostage of his own emotions. This is a battle between John Wick and his own emotions, and he should not let he should not let his revenge get in the way of it. He should not let his emotions take others' lives, which brings me on to my next argument about moralities. Taking someone's life away is in a way affecting their innocent family, who probably has no idea what their deceased family has done. And we have no rights of taking away others' lives. Well, others may do us wrong, but we have absolutely no rights to do them wrong back again, because morally we should never let our emotions take over us and repeat someone's mistake. Whenever we even though we face the consequences of someone's rage or someone's anger towards us, it is not a pass, it is not a key, it is not a access for us to have the entitlement to backfire at them. Because as I have said before, what our side of the house believes is high grounds of morals and righteousness. And we believe that the act of revenge leads to another assassination. For example, once you have committed the sense of this revenge, others will always backfire, and it's gonna be a never-ending cycle of a killing spree. And many stakeholders will be affected if he were to keep this never-ending revenge. And what we believe is that what he should do is to stand against his own emotions, rather than throwing his emotions and bottling it up and throwing it onto someone else. What he should do is make amends with himself without affecting other stakeholders in an extreme case. Thank you.
Thank you, Tricia, who spoke for 7 minutes and 33 seconds. Now, I invite Abendanon as the leader of opposition.
Hello, am I audible?
Yep.
Hello?
You are.
Okay, before I begin my speech, oh, why is the timer running anyway? Okay. Before I begin my speech, for POIs, just open your mic. I'm going to begin my speech in 3, 2, 1. Panels, losing everything you value the most in the world is the most traumatic experience you can have in your life, right? You, as John Wick, was the happiest man alive when your wife was there to support you. Then your wife dies. You are aimless in life and do not know what you want to do with your life, right? You don't know where your life is going, right? And then suddenly these sadistic mobs are killing the last gift from your wife, which drives you very angry because they explicitly declared war on you. That is why it is within John Wick's interest to take revenge by any means, no matter what happens to himself. Our stance is we believe that John Wick's revenge is a justified reaction towards these mobsters' action of killing his puppy. And our goal here is we want John Wick to still put up an attempt on achieving a vengeful closure, even though he knows he might not succeed. 2 points of model coming from our side of the house. Firstly, we want to make this seeking vengeance as the number one life goal for John Wick himself. And secondly, we want to talk about if team government wants to talk about feasibility, we say that our proposal manifests because John Wick is known as an incredible assassin, right? And 2 points of rebuttal coming from our side of the house. Firstly, they say that revenge is only going to intensify his emotions and intensify his negativity, right? But they never explicitly told you why it's bad, right? Because in our case, you literally killed the person who declared war on you, right? Therefore, it even if it is toxic in their means of our on their side of the house, we say it's still justified. Secondly, moving on to the second rebuttal, they say that the best closure John Wick can have is a therapy, right? But we say they have never characterized why John Wick wants to have this therapy, right? And also, second layer, they have never explained to us how this therapy is going to work on their side of the house, right? Because John Wick is known to be a violent man from his background career. Moving on to my proposal, two things I'm going to prove to you in this debate. Moving on to the first thing, I'm going to prove to you why is it justified to take John Wick's path on a killing spree towards these mobs who have hurt him before. Look, first layer of analysis. Look, these mobsters have the evil intention to harm John Wick. Why do they have the evil intention? Because they literally intentionally kill his wife's gift, his wife gifts in front of his eyes, right? We characterize these mobs as merciless people. They don't have any sense of morality whatsoever, and that is shown by the act of killing the puppy, right? Which is the only living memory of his wife. What does this translate to? This means that these mobs have declared war on John Wick. They want John Wick to suffer from their actions, right? They want John Wick to be depressed for the rest of his life. Therefore, John Wick's action in killing them as an act of war is justified. Look, there's a parallel example to this. For example, in modern warfare, countries all declare war on each other, right? In status quo, they might still have the tendency to do so. The logic I'm trying to prove to you here is that society norms do not manifest in warfare, right? For example, you can kill people in war. The society's model is that you cannot kill people, but instead in war you actually are obliged to kill other soldiers, right, for your country to win. So therefore, do not credit their shallow analysis on why killing is unjustified, right? Because we say it's an act of war, it's justified. And second layer, look, John Wick's action is a natural response towards the act of these mobsters, right? Here's a step-by-step analysis, right? John Wick was a happy man, right? And then his wife dies, so he becomes depressed, right? And therefore, he has no goal in life. He has no evil intention, right? The moment that his wife dies, he doesn't know who to fight for anymore. What is his life goal anymore? No, he has nothing. He doesn't think about that. But now this mobster killed his wife last gift to him in his state of grievance, right? if you harm John Wick in his state of grievance, knowing that John Wick has a violent background as an assassin, that confirms that this is his natural response, right? He's trained to be violent as assassin, and when he is sad, look, the logic here is when people are sad, they bring their true emotion, right? Even if his wife quote unquote transform him into a better person, his violent past is still is still embedded in his chest, right? It is still in his mind, and when this state of grievance comes to him, it brings it back, so it's justified and it is a natural response. Moving on to the third and final layer of our justification. Look, his coping mechanism shouldn't be judged and interfered to begin with, right? For example, if you're coping your problems away with smoking, it is harmful to others, right? But it's still justified in society. And by the way, they have brought to you a wrong characterization of his wife. John Wick's wife wouldn't want John Wick to harm himself and doubt himself and feel regret for not avenging his wife, right? But even if their characterization is right, we say that the wife have no rights to judge how John Wick copes his trauma, right? Therefore, do not credit their argument. Second thing I'm going to prove in this debate is what are the benefits of our proposal. Ideally, John Wick wants to achieve the proper mental stress relief so that he has no grudge and not depressed anymore, right? And however, in their side of the house, John does not kill the person who killed his puppy and instead goes to therapy. What will happen? The therapy might not work considering his background of being violent, right? Therefore, he can develop stress, depression, and mental health issue. And also, second thing is he will become unsatisfied of the closure he gets. This is very likely. Just imagine being in a position where you lost the thing you value the most to a person who is never going to be sorry for it. This becomes important because he will stress relief in the bad way, right? He will become aggressive in his daily life, and it happens until the day he dies. Even government team doesn't want John Wick to be aggressive, right? In their side of the house, John Wick is being aggressive to the society, to everyone he meets in his daily life because he cannot commit this revenge, and therefore he cannot achieve his preferred closure, right? And therefore he will regret it for the rest of his life. In comparison to our side of the house, we want John Wick to relieve the stress by killing the people who killed his puppy. Therefore mental stress relief is better because he is directly killing the person who declared war on him, and he will get the closure that he wants. Yeah. And therefore, even if he dies, it's still okay, because if he dies, he'll be in a peaceful world where he isn't holding any grudges anymore. And if team government wants to win this debate, they need to prove how John Wick can relieve stress, trauma, and anger in their way. So proud to oppose.
Thank you, Abadanon, who spoke for 7 minutes and 32 seconds. Now, to expand the case, I invite Rachel as the Deputy Prime Minister.
Good afternoon, dear adjudicator, as well as my fellow debaters. So to start off, I would like to address that we are looking and concerning regarding our moral dilemma and the morality that we hold as John Wick in this debate, as it is a moral debate. And if we comply to our wants or pushes or drives, then we do admit that we would seek revenge as well. We would comply to our emotions. However, we believe that our drive of revenge isn't the way to attain closure in the morally righteous way. So to start off, I would like to address a couple of rebuttals. First of all is the opposition side asks us and questions why John Wick would want to go to therapy when he is an assassin. Well, first of all, in this context, John Wick is a retired assassin. He may have a criminal history, however, he is someone that is now changed because of his wife. And second of all, although his wife died, his love for his wife still exists, which is why he is now in depression and denial. And because of this love for his wife, this love that he had would be enough to be the man that she wants him to be the man that he knows is what is right for him to be. And my second rebuttal is that they claim that killing people in this case is is okay, is righteous because society norms does not apply to war. But this is entirely different from the context of war, as war is, first of all, as you had mentioned as well, is for your country. It is inevitable. It is something obligatory, and to kill in war is obligatory because it is either you die or you kill or you die. And while in this case you have a choice, and this choice is what we are talking about here. We care about John Wick's survival as well. So the opposition side says that the wife has no right to be contemplated in what John Wick should do next. But however, for John Wick, it is undoubted. It's you can't say that the wife has no right because his wife had a large impact in his life. And I would like to ask the opposition side, since when does therapy turn someone mad or aggressive or even more mentally unstable than before? Because the opposition side claims to be concerned about the aggressivity that may come out of therapy. However, John Wick will undoubtedly be aggressive if he doesn't go to therapy. So that concern will happen even if you oppose this motion. So I'd like to state that there are 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Knowing the story in hindsight, John Wick is stuck in the stage of anger, especially with the additional trigger of his belongings and what's left of his wife being killed. Of course, as John Wick, this is the stage that is not only dangerous for him, but also dangerous for everyone around him. Therefore, we'll be dividing our stakeholders into 2, which is John Wick himself and the people around him. So for the people around him, sure, his main goal is closure through revenge. However, it is evident that for him to attain this goal, he will ruthlessly eradicate everyone and everything in his way. One kill would be enough to trigger a killing machine to be unleashed in the streets. The opposition side cannot deny this, and they have not proven a concern for the people around him. Which brings me to my first point, which is morals. So regarding the first stakeholder, which is John Wick, I'll be dividing my arguments into 3, which is morally, logically, and pathologically. So morally, as we had said before, we believe that revenge isn't a way to attain closure. Sure, you may say that being an assassin riddled with grief, morality may not be the first thing in your mind. We get that. But however, we are confident to say that John Wick does have a sense of morality. And why are we so sure? His wife revealed this, that he is capable of differing between moral and immoral. Therefore, his wife actually did not leave him only with a dog and a house, but these moralities and righteousness as well. Later. Second of all, pathologically, John Wick is a professional assassin before he met his wife. His wife then trained him to the point he retires from his violent career. And after his death, to seek revenge through assassination and murder would be like to relapse as an alcoholic, to fall off the boat. And would his wife want that for him? No, and he does care what his wife would want for him because she is the love of his life. Therefore, pathologically, he wouldn't have wanted what his wife wouldn't want for him. Therefore, closure wouldn't be found within himself if he find himself with guilt from that act itself. So logically, being the well-known assassin you are, if you are John Wick, yes, sure.
What do you mean by moral?
What we mean by moral is what we believe to be right and wrong, the ability to differentiate between what is right and what is wrong. And as I said before, John Wick does have that ability. He has that knowledge. And moving on, logically, being the well-known assassin you are, an all-out assassination spree is clearly and logically not the best idea. Why? Taking revenge would mean hurting a numerous amount of people. When people get hurt, especially because they lost someone, which we have both sides of the team has established that the reluctancy of violence is high when it comes to losing someone, then it is extremely likely for those victims of John Wick to take revenge on him. A lot of people will look out for him to kill him, and he will be the target of a lot of people who want to hurt him, which is why that it is not beneficial, or benevolent to John Wick at all. And the opposition side may have said that death is something that is acceptable in their side of the house because that at least he will be able to die in peace. However, as I said before, he will not be able to gain that peace or closure if he knows that he ends up disappointing his wife, disappointing himself, and the man who he is supposed to be. Therefore, it is the second reason why closure wouldn't be found within the act of revenge. So regarding the mechanism that we propose about the psychology and using psychology as a measure of healing, we think that it is extremely efficient because psychologists deal with those kind of people every day. John Wick is not a one person context in which my third speaker will deliberate more on. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Rachel, for speaking for 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Now, I invite Brian as the Deputy Leader of Opposition.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Do I need to raise my volume?
It's audible enough.
Okay, cool. I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Their side of the house is basically saying, as a sane, healthy person who don't even know how painful it is to lose your loved one, to lose the last gift from your loved one. They are being irrational in this context. They even never relate to the real feelings of the John Wick to begin with. We said that our side of the house, we have explained to you about how this is not possible for John Wick to resort to a therapy, and I will later explain it on my speech, right? But now I'm going to respond to a couple of statement that their side of the house have made. First of all, about the therapy that will manifest under their side of the house. We see that they have contradict themselves with the characterization of John Wick. They told you that John Wick is actually a legendary assassin, right? So therefore, they never really tell you about why a legendary assassin can go to a therapy and suddenly become a good person and not become depressed, right? We see that therapy never happened by a snap of finger, or it happened magically, ladies and gentlemen. We believe that their side of the house have the burden to prove to us why under their side of the house this therapy can manifest and also be effective in order to relieve the sting of grief on John Wick, right? But let's assume they have already told you. Let's say the mechanism they proposed is about sedative, or known as obat penenang in Indonesia. We said that those kind of things is not really going to be beneficial at the end of the day because there's a risk for John Wick to be overdosed or even to be reliant and dependent on this kind of medication later. Now I'm going to talk about 3 things in my speech. With a lot of layers, so please stay with me, adjudicators. First of all, I will say why principally John Wick have the right to access the means of revenge, and secondly, I will talk about why our proposal is the only way that can relieve the mean of this thing of grieving for John Wick, who is in incredible pain. Thirdly, why it is far better than the alternative that he might resort to. To the first point, why principally John Wick have the right to access this mean of revenge. We see that this kind of event or this kind of experience is the most traumatic experience for him. To know that person, his wife, is no longer that someone that he can hold in his arm. To know that every single day his wife is no longer someone that he can make a cup of tea with. Those kind of things is already very painful and harmful, very painful for him. Now, you see that it is really traumatic for him, and we should not judge on based on how he want to cope with that kind of situation, right? We see that John Wick know himself the best on that kind of situation, and we should not judge on how he wanna choose on the solution, because we say that those kind of things is incredibly personal and subjective to him. So to just simply say that it is not okay, just be on their side of the house, simply say because it is not morally right, we don't see any important coming from the moral itself, right? So we believe it is the only way it is justified for John Wick to actually access to this kind of mean of revenge because it is incredibly personal and subjective to him. But on to the second point, why it is the only way that he can relieve the sting of grieving, relieve the sting of grieving. We see that John Wick, has already gone to a lot of traumatic experience as this event has already occurred to him, right? By the time you know that the person, that mobster, take everything for you and assassinated your puppy, which is the last gift from your wife, of course, that will fuel you with a lot of anger and also make you really, really guilty because you know you're not that person that able to keep that present from your wife, that last thing that your wife already given to you. Those kind of thing is only going to make John Wick blaming over and over again for him. And we say that by doing the revenge and also killing them mobsters are actually going to make him be able to relieve this kind of grieving because simply this kind of people has already taken something from him. So in order for him, so he will have the moral obligation to do the same to him because basically he has already to them because basically they have already taken this kind of right from him to begin with. But onto the second layer of this analysis, I would like to explain that killing a mobster is actually a good thing to begin with. Killing is only a way to clean up society from these gang members, right? It is just the same as we kill roaches, pests, etc. We don't see by the presence of this mobster is going to bring any net good to the society. As an assassin, John Wick also have the incentive because he have moral compass, quote unquote moral compass. He already know that this person, that these people, this group of people is already a bad people to begin with. So therefore, he also can gain that sense of pride by killing these people and also giving a sense of security to the society. But the last point, why our side of the house is far better than the alternative mechanism that he might resort to, right? Look on the situation, right? What kind of option does he have if he don't do revenge? He will blame himself over and over again for not being able to protect the last gift and the last present that he got from his wife. He will resort to depression, self-harm, or even suicidal behavior. This already manifests under the current status quo. For instance, things like crying for a week and looking in yourself in the room and not eating or even overdose, yada, yada, yada. Those kind of things never been rebutted by the side of the house. We think that those kind of things is really harmful and not within the interest of the John Wick to begin with, right? The other side of the house, if they want to talk about this, they at least have to give an explanation to you why this kind of thing is really is worth the trade-off under the side of the house. They never really acknowledge this harm under the side of the house. They just play on their best case scenario. But lastly, I'm going to talk about I'm going to compare my proposal to their proposal to conclude my whole speech. Look, ladies and gentlemen, we believe that by our proposal, we can cater to the interest of the John Wick better than their side of the house. Their side of the house never really told you why John Wick would even have the incentive to undergo a therapy, or even why John Wick would not do kind of revenge. What factor that will give him a drawback to not do this kind of revenge, right? Because we already say to you about the parallel example that we already proposed to you about the war, but they try to argue about that, right? We said that this is also a war because simply this person, this kind of mobster don't have anything to do with that puppy, but actually those mobsters had already took something from him, so therefore this is a mean of declaring a war between them. So they're proud to oppose. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian, who spoke for 7 minutes and 43 seconds. To summarize the case, I invite Ken as the government whip.
Hold on. Okay. So first of all, I want to start my speech with has the time started? Okay, so I want to start my speech with a few rebuttals. First of all, they said that the first speaker said that when the wife dies, it gives a sense of trauma to John Wick at the first place, and we have countered this offer by offering that we give a mechanism and a solution that um, we will refer this trauma to be dealt with a professional psychologist that has been dealing with these cases day to day. And of course, as you can see, we're saying a professional psychologist, not a professional psychiatrist, which the second speaker has mentioned about something about overdose and something about obat penenang that they mentioned that can happen to John Wick. But as we can see, we are implying to psychologists, not a psychiatrist, that cannot prescribe any medicine to John Wick. And even if what they are implementing that John Wick will find the medicine by itself, but we are implementing that the psychologist will help him to cope with his trauma, cope with his sadness, in order to find the closure, the permanent closure that he needs instead of killing and assassinating. And of course, you need to remember, we need to remember, dear educator, that we are discussing about moral dilemma and morality, not about something that is justifiable or not something that is logical. Because they mentioned that the killing and assassination is a natural response, or it is something logical that is justifiable in their side of the house. But our side of the house has mentioned that we are debating about morality, and which we have mentioned that killing a person is morally wrong. Why? Because killing a person, that means we are taking that person's right to live, and we have no obligation to to do that sort of thing. And also, as you can see, adjudicator, they are only focusing on the main actor, which is John Wick and John Wick's feeling, but they have not even tried to understand the other stakeholders that we have mentioned in the first place, which are the family that can be affected by this by the John Wick's assassination. Because we have mentioned, even if the mobsters and all that stuff did something wrong, it doesn't mean that we have the right to take someone's life in the first place. And also, we also have already elaborated that these stakeholders, if you kill the mobsters, they have families. They have families that are innocent and doesn't understand what is happening to their deceased family member. And they said that this John Wick lost something very valuable to his life that makes him able to do assassination or do killing. But if you think, this can also happen to the family members that are affected by this John Wick's killing. What I mean is, if John Wick kills one of the family members, that means the family members will lose something very valuable to them and can do the same thing to John Wick. So it's actually very very unstable situation in their side of the house, because they are not even thinking about the security of John Wick in the first place. While we, or our side of the house, we have considered about all the stakeholders that can be affected by this, and also take an important note about John Wick's safety that can be in danger in their side of the house. Why? Because by John Wick killing people, it can make other people even more want to take revenge to himself, and can affect his survival in real life. And also, they also mentioned that it is a good thing for killing mobsters, because it is a good thing for in the society. But this is something more. But if we're discussing about moral, this is something morally wrong. Why? Because mobs are also humans that have family, that have where the families are loves them and have something have something that they have to do in their life. But and by killing these mobsters, okay, they're saying that this is good for society, for people's safety, but they are disregarding again the feeling of the family itself. And I want to compare cases between um, our side of the house and their side of the house. So their worst case is that John Wick will be even more violent from the first place and even become more in danger because a lot of people will seek for revenge. No, thank you. Will seek for revenge and will want to kill him. Well, our worst case, okay, maybe John Wick won't get closure and can get that trauma what they are implementing, but at least in our side of the house, uh, we do not take someone's life and we do not destruct the morals of John Wick from itself, because to remember again that we are discussing about morality, and their best case is okay, John Wick will get satisfied, but that is a temporary um, temporary satisfaction, and it will become a cycle where he will continue killing and people will continue having revenge on him and can affect his survival. While our best case, the psychologist can actually work, and John Wick can get closure permanently, and no problems will and less problems will come to him, and because no other people will have a grudge to him, and his survival in our side of the house will become even become even more secured. And the second speaker said how the good how good nature from John Wick is not is like not built overnight, but it was built during the entire time, which when he was with the love of his wife, which is a big deal for him. Which is why if he acknowledges that, he will likely be able to do what his wife wants, and what his wife will want for himself. And also, for a psychologist to fail, where we have said that this is a professional psychologist, this is somehow unlikely to happen in our case, because they are somehow implementing that psychologist, someone is very dumb, very not understanding to the feelings of John Wick itself. And so the clash that one of the minor clash that I found in this debate is whether or not assassination or psychologist can work even more. And our side has explained that assassination can lead into a cycle which involves killing and endanger the security of John Wick. While on our side of the house, psychologists can really understand the feeling of John Wick and can make him get closure permanently. That is why we are proud to propose. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ken, who spoke for 7 minutes and 39 seconds. Now I invite Giovanni as the opposition whip.
Hello, is it audible?
Yes,
Hello?
it is. Hello.
I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Aju, please notice that government is very defensive by just saying it is morally unjustified repetitively without the analysis on why during war it is very immoral to kill. We have already proved to you on why is it morally. Because John Wick is already being personally attacked by these mobs, already taking someone's precious gift, which is his wife gift, right, ladies and gentlemen, the puppy that has already been killed by the mobs, ladies and gentlemen. Very lacking of analysis and very defensive to begin with. But two clashes I'm going to bring in this debate. Firstly, about which side can fulfill the interest of John Wick to relieve stress and anger, but secondly, which side give better justified action to begin with. First clash about which side can fulfill the interest of John Wick to relieve stress, anger, and grief. Their side of the house argue that, oh, revenge do not bring the puppy and it makes John Wick the same person like before. Panel, one response is very inexclusive. We concede his action will be the same like what he did in the past, but look, the moment we do not kill the mobs, John Wick will keep his anger, sadness in his mind. The moment he has done this, he already keep everything in his mind. So we believe that John Wick will just impact the society or someone in his environment or his house or some in his society, right? For example, you being mad because of something, you of course show your anger, or for example, you just be very sensitive to your friends, to your family, right? This shows to us on why when you keep your anger, it will very impact other people as well, and it will also be the same John Wick. It will also still be the same John Wick as in the past. So we believe their harm that they propose to us also happens under their side of the house without any analysis on why it won't happen under their side of the house. Because we believe when you keep your anger, you become more sensitive. You also will impact other people too, ladies and gentlemen. But what does this create? Knowing he used to be an assassin doesn't mean that you don't have the mind of a killer. For example, you retire from a biology teacher, you will of course still have the thoughts of biology, of the analysis of being a biology teacher, right, ladies and gentlemen? We believe that the characteristic of you being a biology teacher will still be followed by you until you retire. Same here goes to this case, ladies and gentlemen, such as John Wick's problem, where you still have the mindset, the naturalistic, and the characterization of a killer or an assassin. We believe their side of the house has been already lost this debate from the very beginning. We believe that we win in this statement. But second response, they say second point that they say is, oh, no rights to take someone else's life. Hano, two response, it's untrue. The moment that the mobs are taking away the most precious thing, which is the puppy given from your wife who has already died, means that the mobs are declaring war. What does this mean? The moment you cannot judge someone's response when you actually do specific action, which the mobs actually kill the puppy, the mobs cannot judge the mentality of someone. The mobs do not know the response to what John Wick will do. What does this mean? The moment government just want to focus on human rights, this is not gonna work, and it is not gonna happen under the status quo right now. For example, when in times of war, a party attacking a second party means that the second party is okay to and justified to actually respond or attack back, no matter who they kill. It is just a form of response. It is just a form of you showing your response to someone that has already taken away something precious in your life, right, ladies and gentlemen? But panel, John Wick is very unhappy the moment that he got his puppy from his wife. What does this mean? The moment his wife died, John Wick will see the puppy as a reflection of his wife's memories, right, ladies and gentlemen? He will see the puppy of his wife, past memory. Why? Because John Wick do not have anyone else to make him happy. So in the content slide, the puppy and the wife is the one that makes John Wick change his life. It makes John Wick actually becomes a much more happy man in the status quo. But the puppy and wife is very precious to John Wick's life. Means that it is okay to do revenge to someone who has already taken someone that makes you smile and happy every single day when you see them, ladies and gentlemen. And when someone takes away your happiness, someone who actually can make you smile, you are always gonna become mad. You always want to be angry, and it is still okay to actually pull on a revenge because this person has destroyed your precious life. He already taken away your smile. He already taken away your happiness, ladies and gentlemen. We believe our side of the house has already fulfilled the interest of John Wick to actually relieve the anger and grief. But in third response, in comparison to our side panel, we let John Wick do the revenge. Why? We want John Wick to actually fulfill the interest of his nature, which is anger and revenge. His assassin life means that he already killed someone. He has the anger, he has the revenge. The moment you keep it in your mind, it just could possibly harm other people too. We believe their side of the house could not defend this harm that they propose to you, but we have already defended in my speech right now. So we believe their side of the house has lost the debate when actually trying to fulfill the interest of John Wick, because we believe that John Wick will just not follow the alternative that they propose to you, which I will explain in this second clash. We believe that we already won in the first clash. But moving on to the second clash, which side give better justified action? Oh, their side of the house argue that therapy is enough because John Wick is already retired. Two response panel, this is contradicting their case. They contradict from the second speaker say that John Wick is already a legendary killer, but government goal is to make him not do revenge and kill someone. on. What does this mean? Simply, this means that killing and revenge is John Wick's nature. So the moment he already got hurt and government want to therapy John Wick means that it's unachievable. The moment government wants to change someone's personality and nature, which has already been implemented for years and many years of him being an assassin, it's already a habit, it's already a naturistic of a person, ladies and gentlemen, and this could not be changed, and they have not proven to us on why it could be changed and effective at the end of the day when you actually do therapy. What type of therapy? Ruqyah or what? We don't understand. Government side of the house, ladies and gentlemen. So John Wick has already killed. So their side of the house has already contradicting their case from the very beginning and lack of analysis. But second response, even if we have to buy this statement, it's untrue. Panel, in a state of grief and anger, his true personality is shown or nature is shown. How? The moment you feel angry, you as John Wick will feel anger and revenge. The nature of John Wick will dominate his mind, which is revenge and grief. His naturalistic for many years as an assassin will dominate his mind. He will become more angry, he become more sensitive. What does this mean? It's very unrealistic for John Wick to actually go to rehab as what government side alternative proposed to you, ladies and gentlemen. It's very unrealistic to happen to begin with. But in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, it is unjustified for John Wick. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, it is justified for John Wick to do revenge. Why? Panel, the moment everyone knows that John Wick has already left his assassin life. Why? Because the context sides say that he has already become the happiest man alive because of this wife and his puppy. The moment you receive happiness, you have no evil thoughts or especially killing mindset in your mind. You have no negative thoughts. The moment mobs suddenly kill John Wick's puppy means that the mobs are actually declaring war. Why? For example, in World War example I have proposed to you, it is okay to actually respond to an attack from a first party. The moment the gangster has already come and kill a living puppy in front of his eyes, which is a last gift given from his wife, means that it's very precious and it's a living memory of his wife. It is okay to kill the puppy, and we believe that Regis Bogor has already won this debate and champion, and we should go to grand final, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian, who spoke for. Thank you, Giovanni, who spoke for 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Now, to close the case, I invite Brian as the opposition reply.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Do I need to raise my volume?
You don't need to.
Okay. Okay. I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Panels, what is their goal? They never really propose to you any goal. What are they trying to do? Or even cater to our actor, which is John Wick. Their side of the house never really give to you a link back to this actor. At the end of the day, they cannot champion this debate, right? But now, second issue about moral, right? They try to argue to you over and over again about moral, and it's clear the definition, how they define moral is what they think is right. They think that is right to leave John Wick in this kind of situation and simply not resort him to a way that he can relieve his thing of grieving, right? So therefore, we say that John Wick, we don't see any urgency for John Wick or any interest for John Wick to stick with the morality or to the morality of the society that killing is wrong, yada yada yada. Those kind of things never really been elaborated by the Southern House. Those kind of statements you cannot buy, right? But out of the third issue, they're being defensive about moral, ladies and gentlemen, because they're simply repeating over and over again from the first, second until the third speaker about moral, killing is wrong, yada yada yada. We don't see that you can buy this argument until right now, right? I've already tackled that. But now let's see on their proposal, right? What benefit they have proposed to you? I don't think that I've heard any benefit that exclusive under their side of the house. We see that their side of the house just trying to do what is right, what they think is right, without saying what benefit that will that the proposal will give to John Wick, right? So therefore, they cannot champion this debate on those reasons, right? But moving on, right? But let's see on their mechanism, right? The mechanism is so problematic. They see psychologists as someone that can treat John Wick or can simply make John Wick a happy person or simply don't have any depression, right? They never really told you from their first and second until the third speaker about how this can make John Wick actually not, this can relieve the sting of grieving from John Wick, etc., etc. We think that we have already explained to you about why it is unlikely to happen to go to a therapy, because simply it is very subjective to him and also personal to him. So we should not judge on the decision that he has made, right? So therefore, if they want to win this debate, they have to tell to us why killing these mobs is actually wrong. Because we think that we have to also look at the reason of the killing and also the kind of person that he tried to kill, right? He tried to kill the mobs. I don't think that killing the mobs is going to be harmful anyway, but it's going to be beneficial, right? Killing mobs is just simply like killing roaches or any pest, right? Because mobs is unnecessary and very harmful to the society, ladies and gentlemen. They never really defend to you why killing mobs is bad, yada, yada, yada. They cannot win this debate. But lastly, to conclude all my team arguments, I would like to say that firstly, our side has bring more benefit because we simply can prove to you on the principle why John Wick have the right to access this mean of revenge, because simply it is a mean of war to begin with, so therefore it is justified. Secondly, why John Wick, why it is the only way that can relieve the sting of grieving for John Wick, who is in incredible pain, because it is simply a form of payback that he will resort to. But lastly, why it is the only why it is far better than the alternative. We said that by the alternative, there's a lot of harm that it is inevitable, such as suicidal behavior, self-harm behavior, blaming himself over and over again. We see that those kind of things manifest under the Sacred House, but they never really told you about why it is justified. So therefore, I would like to close my speech by saying that death is really horrible and people feel pain. We believe that our proposal can cater to the interest of the John Wick better than the Sacred House. We can provide ultimate solution to this John Wick, and there's I cannot, right? We believe that we should go to the grand final. Regis is the best team ever, and we champion this debate. So proud to oppose. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian, who spoke for 4 minutes and 14 seconds. Now, I invite Rachel as the government reply.
I'll start speaking in 3, 2, 1. So to start off so to conclude this debate, I would like to first mention that there is a logical jump in the opposition's case in which that there is no link between physical violent revenge and the closure and moral fulfillment that they promise John Wick attains, in which they don't even mention how the moral fulfillment will actually be attained by John Wick. And they keep on saying how, well, war and revenge, it will give something beneficial for John Wick, when in reality, how is killing those who harmed him going to give him that closure, that sense of satisfaction and fulfillment, if it's going to end up putting a bigger bounty in his head? Which is also something that they have not addressed, which is that if he kills people, not only that there will be a bloodbath, but people will be putting a target in his head. So going on about, I would like to speak regarding exclusivity, in which our side is exclusive regarding the closure that both sides of the house want for John Wick. However, we have the upper hand in this regard, because first of all, the closure that we offer is a long-term closure. We have explained why so, because of how logically and morally having closure means that you get to accept what you lost, which is something that is something that can be achieved on our side and can't be achieved in theirs. Also, I would like to compare cases in which, in their best case, John Wick gets closure by assassinating. However, by doing so, John Wick ends up killing a bunch of people, and the closure that he attains would be temporary, as I had said before. And the bunch of people that he killed a lot of their loved ones would try to avenge him, and therefore even our worst case would be better than that case, because even if in our worst case John Wick does go to a psychologist and it does not work, he becomes mentally broken, such as he does self-harm, he becomes more aggressive, and everything that the opposition said. First of all, we have proven that this is very unlikely to happen because therapy works, which is something that they can't seem to acknowledge. They keep on disregarding the fact that psychologists are experienced, that they have experience with these kinds of people. And if they want to win this debate, then the opposition needs to show the adjudicators that they truly care about John Wick, because they don't even care about John Wick's survival, in which they are extremely risking even in their best case. And putting him in a place of jeopardy, he might lose more than just his dog and his wife. He might lose his life, which is something that, of course, his wife wouldn't want. And the opposition keeps on questioning our goal, which we have actually pushed upon from the very first speaker, which is to attain closure in the best way possible, with the least harm for the people both around him and also himself. Second of all, we are defensive about morality, as they had claimed, because the opposition side is utterly dismissive regarding morality, that there is no upper hand in the regards of morality in their side of the house, which is why, as this is a moral motion, then we have the upper hand. And keep in mind that the mobsters, they have the motive to kill him and to harm him, and therefore it is very likely for him to get killed, and it is not in his best regard, which is why that we are very proud to oppose. Thank you. Propose, sorry.
Thank you, Rachel, who spoke for 4 minutes and 22 seconds. Thank you, everybody that has participated in this debate. Now, all of you may go outside while the adjudicator makes his or her decision.
Thank you,
Thank you,
all.
Kak. Thank you all. Thank you, Kak Aju.
Thank you for the debate.
Langsung dihap bisa, sup sampai kimbab juga bisa. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Pertama coba nggak kuat, makin lama makin nikmat. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Dari masak-masak sampai makan-makan, Mama selalu tahu yang enak.
Penambang Muara Enim, Asuransi Cakrawala Proteksi, Bank Jasa Jakarta, BCA, PT Biomedika Mandiri Jaya, PT Trasparta, dan Rohto, and all the other sponsors that have supported this event. See you in the next round.
Langsung dihap bisa, sup sampai kimbab juga bisa. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Pertama coba nggak kuat, makin lama makin nikmat. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Dari masak-masak sampai makan-makan, Mama selalu tahu yang enak.
Asuransi Cakrawala Proteksi dengan Resya bisa dibantu?
Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh. Mata kering, jadi fresh.
So fresh. fresh.
Rohto Dry Fresh. Nggak ada vitamin C seenak ini. Pilih Sido Muncul vitamin C 1000.
Trubus Bina Swadaya.
Langsung dihap bisa, sup sampai kimbab juga bisa. Mama selalu tahu yang enak. Pertama coba nggak kuat, makin lama.